Well, hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, YouTube, everywhere. There's going to be a live clip of this happening and going on. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson, with you this bright early morning before, 412, which is what the whole name of my business is all about. Is a time, not a place, or a reference in a book or anything like that. It is 412 Productions, The Art of Monty Anderson, and welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. For those of you stopping in, checking out the channel, what we do here is we talk about comic books. We talk about comic book artwork. We talk about horror movies, sci-fi movies, all the cool stuff. Action figures, cards, anything like that. If you want to talk politics, you can go somewhere else, and you know, you can go start your own channel for that stuff. Because once people start talking about religion and gotta fix some things here. It's not tight for some reason. Whenever people start talking about religion and politics, people start losing their damn minds. So if you want to do that, go somewhere else. We don't do that here. We will talk sports, those type of things, because sports makes people lose their minds as well. We did do a box break on a 2023 um, Score Panini box just the other day. That was fun. We did a garbage pail break as well on the Bookworm edition from 2022. So those were fun. People seem to enjoy that. We might end up doing that again. So today's title is Orders Going Out. Some orders just went out. Some orders are coming in. I'm getting ready to order some new stuff, some new shirts that people are ordering, and going from there. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. I've got two Antarctic Press books to go over as well. So be watching that for my YouTube channel. I do those separate so you guys don't get bored with the whole review. I do honest reviews of the Antarctic Press titles. And we've got Kendra number 2. And we've got Dog Supreme. All from Antarctic Press. One is 28 pages and the other one is 39 or 40 pages, something like that. So there you go. My allergies are hitting this morning, so I may sound a little bit different to you, and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, no, allergies are happening all of a sudden. The girlfriend's coming down with a cold as well on her side. So it's not fun when those things happen. Yes, this is the best flavor of the V8 energy drink. And let me flip this around so everything is correctly right there. V8 energy. Peach mango. The best flavors they've got. The others taste way too chemical and all of that good stuff. Show you some progress. I've added some new elements to this little guy. Started adding the dark inks to it as well. But I added this little tentacle creature down here at the bottom, right there inside the water. And I've still got to add some shadowing to it as well. And the trees will get some shadowing, and then of course the background will get a lot of shadowing back in there. And then once I get this one inked up, I will start inking up the other one and adding in more elements into the background of it, which is the mashup between Kingdom Hearts and Blade Runner. You've got Sora fighting the replicants up top over here. Sora, of course, is from Kingdom Hearts, the video game series. The replicants back here are from Blade Runner. And then, of course, you got Decker here fighting the Darkness Horde over here. And then there'll be some more elements back over here behind him as well. Just like the world of Blade Runner will be back here behind Sora in the Rift, because the Rift is opened up in this. This is just a vision that the person wanted that ordered these, and that's what we're going with. And then once I get that inked up, I'm going to be starting some painting process of the pet memorial that I've got working behind me. I'm also going to be starting up my I'm also going to be starting up my Ozzy Osbourne piece I've got one of my covers to one of my comic books. Well, my only comic book series that I've got working right now. I've got it already drawn up um, on a reused canvas, which is pretty awesome. I found it at a antique store for like $2, and so couldn't pass it up because of the size. And I've already got it drawn up for my comic book, which will be pretty awesome. Uh, Now the painting process is going to start, you know, so I'm looking forward to that. So I just put out some orders. Casey, your order is on the way, which you got the tracking number for that, which included one of these. And do I have it out here still? I don't think I do. If I do, it's buried. Had to move some shit around. Oh, it's right there. Let me go grab that real fast. Hold on. Stay with me. Stay with me. It's always good to have your own covers right next to your handy, don't you think? All right, so Mr. Casey, if he arrives with us today, I don't know if he's going to or not. He ended up getting the Job 3, which is my newest uh, commission cover for Legacy Comics, right there. And then my very first cover from William Russell, which is Psycho Sal number 3. Both of these are number 3 covers right here. This is a painting. This is hand drawn stuff, and it's hanging right here, right there. The original is hanging right there. Bum, bum, bum. You guys can't see it, but they can up there. There's the original, and it was colored by Dave Kemp, one of the great colorists who actually works in the industry, and he is the one that loved my style of my cross hatching that I do, which I haven't put on this drawing yet, so I still have that opportunity to do that. But this is my first professional comic book cover out in the world, Psycho Sal number 3 from William Russell. And then this is my number 2 out there in the world, Legacy Comics, a painted cover for him, Mr. Patrick Hickey Jr. And Mr. Casey ended up getting both of these and a few extras because, that's what I do here. Like some of the extras he is going to receive are some stickers. This is one that a friend of mine had me draw up, and I thought he was going to end up buying the drawing, but he never did. But this is my Stop Squatching Me sticker. It's got Bigfoot in the Johnny Cash vein, giving you the middle finger. So there's that. And then my homage to the March 11th, 1966 Life magazine cover, which has Adam West as Batman up there. Well, it's up there because it's autographed and up on my wall. But I did the Batman Who Laughs in that same vein, right there. These stickers are available if you'd like to get them. Right there. Let me focus in there, buddy. Focus in. Come on. There we go. Right there. I did an homage to that cover. And then, of course, Grogu. This was a painting I did a while back. My mother has these stickers as well. My Joaquin Phoenix Joker, half and half, where he's just regular. And then the Joker, of course. This was a fan favorite. A lot of people loved that and got the prints and the stuff like that. And then the picture that sold before it was even finished, Mr. Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street, my greatest horror film. A lot of people don't like it because it's too campy. It's got too much comedy in it. But that's what makes a good horror movie. A good mix of comedy and horror. Sometimes. But sometimes you just want the straight horror aspect, blood, guts. And that's what Nightmare on Elm Street was whenever it came out. And since we are in the spooky season, I've got Mr. Art the Clown out there up for sale, up for grabs right now. Let me dust him off a little bit because she's collecting a little bit of dust already. But right there, he is on an actual saw blade. So these are some of the new stuff that I'm working on right now. So if you don't want him to sit in the base, you can actually hang it up as well. but he does sit in a base right there that you can stick whatever on. Your crystal collection. I'm not worried about it because it is protected. I mean, it will scuff up a little bit, but you can put your crystal collection on it. If you have it sitting in your office and you want to put your mics on it, you can do that. I just got to keep watching my mics. I haven't charged them in a couple days. But and if you have a home invasion, you now have a weapon. They were taken out by Art the Clown. That would be a good headline right there. Home invaders taken out by Art the Clown. Right there. But you do have that one, and then today I will be posting up this little guy right here from Saw on a saw blade, which is Billy the Puppet from Saw. I want to play a game. Lately, you all have not been ordering the way you should, and it's time to get back to it. So there you go. This one will be posted today with some music, of course. And then Art the Clown is already out there on the page. It's getting a lot of love right now on all the platforms that it's on, which is on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. I have not posted it to YouTube because YouTube is for these broadcasts and my, honest reviews of the Antarctic Press titles that we do. So there is that. Bum, bum, bum. Let's see here. Okay, those of you just joining and watching, my allergies messing up. Don't tell me to come down my nose because it's not going to help. It's just going to come right back. But I do have my nasal spray over here that if it gets too bad, I will go ahead and take it for you guys. Okay? Alright, okay. Now, for 2025, all my orders that have been going out are getting my new sticker. My new sticker right here. With the logo on it. 412 Productions plus the alien right there. Let's get it really, really close so you can see it. And all of its shiny glory. Right there. So, what that means is that, say, you order a comic book. Okay? I will peel that sticker off. And I will stick that sticker right here on this back portion. On this backing board for the comic book. I will not stick it directly to the comic book. If you order a print, it's going to go on the front from now on, just because that's where we want it, and we want it to be an eye-catching piece. That's why I did it in a foil, so that anytime anybody walks through your house and sees that hanging on your wall, they'll be like, "Oh wow, who did that?" And they'll go check it out. That shiny trinket will catch their eye, and they'll walk over to it. So. Don't forget to like, share, and follow those of you that are here with us right now that are watching, if you're enjoying the broadcast channel. So, like I said, orders are going out. So, I've sent out several orders already. Several orders are coming in for t-shirts, like the one I'm wearing right now. That's not the one that was ordered, but this one is getting a lot of love from our collection of stuff. Like I said, I'm adding 16 more to the mix with some more of my artwork that has been done up. And then later on, I'm going to add a few more, which are going to turn into my comic book covers that I have in the works. Like the one that I've got sitting behind me, that you guys can't see, but it's over there. That will be, a painted cover for my comic book. All of my comic book covers will be painted covers that I do for my own books. And I haven't given the title of the book yet. I haven't given all the information on it. But if you've been watching any of my shows, you've seen or heard about what my comic book is about. It's got cryptids, which cryptids are chupacabras, Bigfoots, aliens, those type things. Loch Ness Monster. Those are cryptids. And then it's also going to have your folklore type stuff and your more obscure horror elements to it as well in there. So you're going to have witches, warlocks, wizards, those type things in there as well. But you're also going to end up with fairies and gnomes and, woodland type creatures that you hear in folklore and things of that nature. And good stuff. So, sorry about that. It is a antagonist hero who didn't want the power that he got, but he's trying to do the best he can with it. And that sounds like people in life. We try to do the best that we can, with what we've been given. Now we don't always get it right, and that's how the story goes. He doesn't always get things right. He's trying the best he can, and he's got opposition along the way. And sounds a lot like life, doesn't it? So, but it is spooky season as well. Yesterday was October 1, and what do you look forward to in the spooky season? What do you hope happens? I live in a haunted house, so I get all kinds of stuff on a regular basis, so I don't have to wonder what's going to happen. I just have to wonder out when it's going to happen. Just because, we get all kinds of stuff on a regular basis. Like I said, one of the cooler ones that I've had is this keyboard that you guys can kind of see right here. Was a little bit farther back because I didn't have the microphone set up yet, and all that good stuff. So the keyboard was a little bit farther back. I probably had about a 3-inch gap between the keyboard and the end of my desk here. Well, right up here, and I'll just show you guys because I can't show you guys. But right up here, I've got this shelf that's got crystals on it, some aliens, and some hobo coins and things like that up there. But you got a little pewter alien, all kinds of stuff. So you can see all that right there. And you see, if that coin were to roll, it would go right up against Miss Kate Beckinsale's autograph right there, and it would stop. Well, that coin, one day I walk in here, and it was laying face down right here, so tails up, right here on the edge of the desk, in between that small gap. And you tell me how it got there. Because there is no way that even if it were to fall forward, it would have gone straight down. Gravity and physics here, folks. If it rolled to the side and bounced off, it would still go straight down. So it flew from there and landed tails side up right here on the desk. Literally right here in the middle of the keyboard, right here. And, there's no possible physical way that it should have ended up from there to here. Even banging on that wall only moves things a few inches, at a time. So, and it's behind crystals, And so there's no physical way other than poltergeist activity for it to have moved from there to here at any point in time. Now, unfortunately, I do have a camera in here that's recording 24/7. Just because we get most of our EVPs and things like that. That's why I go ahead and keep this little guy right here, my digital recorder. And the camera shoots from here and goes this direction. So anything over here that were to land here, it's not going to catch, unfortunately. But we get orbs caught back here, just like if you go back to one of my older videos, I'm talking about the puzzle box from Hellraiser, which I do have in the house. It's just a toy. It's not one of those really cool ones that everything moves at the same time. It just has it has two movable parts that you can pull apart, reconfigure, put it back together, all that good stuff. It's decent for the the $5 price that it was. And I was talking about that from Hellraiser, and then all of a sudden this orb comes out and goes whoop right into my hat. And you can see it. It wasn't a bug, all that good stuff. And I stopped the live because I was on live, and when I saw it come over and go right into my hat, and we talked about it for a while. I even showed it to some paranormal groups at some different conventions that I was at, some horror conventions that I was at, and they thought it was really cool. And they all agreed that it was not a bug, And I get orbs like that all the time in my library. Now, I've got haunted items in my library, Um, Mr. Diego, which is a haunted jester doll, or so we think. Uh, that's what they sold it to us as. But they also called it a demon as well. But that being said, they knew the name, so hence it's not a demon. You won't know a demon's name because a demon isn't going to give you its name right off the bat. Because at that point in time, it loses all power, right? So, as we have found out through Ed and Lorraine Warren and all the Conjuring movies. So, there is that. But welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. And we're talking about all kinds of stuff here on this show. Like I said, we're talking about orders going out, orders coming in, and all that goody good stuff. And I'm surprised that Roy isn't here as well, since I know he's awake, and he should be here already. Mr. Nice Guy should be here. Casey should be here. Some of my regulars. And there's Mr. Red Panda Bean, if he's here. I don't know if he's actually here or not. Because sometimes TikTok puts up some things in there to invite. Oh, so you're over here, you jerk. Why are you over here? Why are you over there? You're not even watching over there. You just left a comment. Hello, Forax. I've got a best friend that's called my girlfriend. We can be friends. Um, all right. So, but it is spooky season. Spirit Halloween is up and running since last month, or maybe a little bit earlier than that. It's got some cool stuff in it. Um, Before Spirit Halloween gets out of there, I do plan on getting the deluxe Freddy Krueger glove, which is the metal glove that they've got in there. And hopefully, before he passes on, get it autographed by Mr. Robert Englund. You know, now I can order his stuff offline and things like that, but I want that personal experience of meeting him, which that could be the hard part, just because I'm not sure what all shows he's going to be hitting here next year or even years after. Um, but he does this month finally get the recognition he deserves. Um, and he will be getting his star on the Walk of Fame, which is well overdue, you know. And so that is pretty awesome. And we look forward to that because October 31st on Halloween is when he gets that star on the Walk of Fame out there. And I'm kind of hoping he has, some element of the Freddy Krueger to go with it because that's who's being inducted, Freddy Krueger. I think with Robert Englund in there. So, all that good stuff. And but with all that being said, horror is what this month is about. And if you love horror movies and things like that, you know, it is what we talk about here is horror movies. We talk about comic books, comic book artwork, sci-fi movies, my artwork sales, my t-shirts, all that good stuff. Mr. Big Worm, you're about to go away, you know? Because if you're going to come on somebody's show and accuse them of things, you better have the proof to back it up. 100%. You Mr. Keyboard Warrior out there who can't have your own show that goes on to other people's shows and try to disrupt them. Have a good day because you're out of here. 100%. We don't have that shit around here. And block and report. Bum, bum, bum. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. And there you go. What fictional character beats Itachi? I really don't know. You've got a lot of fictional characters that could potentially beat Itachi. Let's see here. Because if you go with the realm of the whole anime, manga, stuff like that, you've got some pretty powerful characters out there. Let's see here. Let us do this. Because I'm not big in the anime stuff, 100%. So I don't know all the characters out there. But I'm sure, a lot of people would tell you Monkey D would be able to follow, would be able to beat him from One Piece. Let's see here. Bum bum bum. No shot. uh, so Itachi from Naruto, right? All right. Let's see here. Um, let's see here. Okay, so now now that I know where he is, Naruto world, um, healthy and in a serious fight. Now Naruto could beat Itachi. In his Kyuubi chakra mode, he could potentially beat Itachi. Let's see here. Bum bum bum. I'm trying to think. And there's probably not very many that could beat Itachi in a fight. Let's just be real, you know. And about time you get over here, Mr. Roy, Joe, Twinkle Toes, Sparkle Butt, Twilight, Lover, Bradley Jr. Even though you were here just a little bit ago. Um, so I'm not really 100% big up on all the anime characters and who can beat who when it comes to all that. Um, because anime I don't draw too much of when it comes down to it, and that's just one of those things that it's only certain shows have fascinated me, and Naruto is not being one of them. I don't even watch One Punch, you know, or One Piece, One Punch, or was it? Is it One Punch Man or something like that? I mean, the stuff that interests me is the stuff that really has a lot of blood and gore in it when it comes to those uh, animes or mangas. Chainsaw Man with a lot of blood on a regular basis. Well, thanks. You want to get blocked just like the other guy? You're lucky. I know you're in real life, dude. All right. So, but yeah, when it comes down to it, I really don't know a whole lot about all that stuff. I've drawn the characters, and I've got all kinds of characters for anime. Berserk, yeah, I've heard that. Um, there's another one that's pretty bloody. See, I can't even pull up any of the animes or mangas and stuff like that that's out there. And I know there's a ton, especially in the manga universe, when it comes down to it, and a lot of the manga is starting to transition into the anime world as well, which is cool. And I do Antarctic Press reviews, on my YouTube channel, and some of those are manga and anime, or I guess just the manga side of it. And they are working on getting their mangas into anime as well. And so, there is that aspect. And I'm going to get more into that type of stuff, just because I get asked more and more. You know, it really is. And I have no problems with it. It's just something I never got into because I was always into the heavier comic book stuff. The darker Batman aspects, the whole Uncanny X Men, because that's my bag right there is my Uncanny X Men, especially the 1963 run till 2002, I believe is when it ended, the Volume One series. And so, there was a ton of bloody comic books, especially in the 90s, that that came around, especially in like Razor and Lady Death and Faust. Faust was one of the most diabolical comic books out there at the time, and then of course then you had Lobo come out and Absolute Batman. Yeah, that one's pretty interesting. I've got a few issues of the number one on that one floating here at the house. And now they're getting ready to do the Absolute Joker, which I'm kind of iffy on that one, just because it kind of looks stupid, in my opinion. It's basically Killer Croc with Joker makeup, and a splash between Killer Croc, a mashup between Killer Croc, Venom, and the Joker is what it looks like to me. The concept art that I saw. Um, he's supposed to be a guy. Okay. Kill the Joker in this one. The Absolute Joker, because the Absolute Batman. uh, um, what I saw, what I read, the writer for Absolute Batman, people were talking about the humongous bat on his chest, and he was like, every time somebody complains, I just make that emblem bigger, you know. So he goes, pretty soon it's going to take up the entire uniform. The way people are complaining about that bat logo on his chest. I thought that was hilarious at the time. I mean, you guys might not think it's hilarious, but I thought it was fun because it does take up the entire chest piece. I mean, that bat logo goes from the edge of the chest down here to his sternum, up to his neck, basically, and it's just hilarious for him to say that. Yeah, every time you guys complain, I'm just going to make that bat emblem bigger, you know. And so, but there's a lot of good reads out there if you actually get into it. And it's not just in the comic book world, the manga stuff. There's a lot of good reads out there, which I'm getting into more and more. Like I said, because a lot of people are recommending stuff that I should read in the manga world. And then since I've been doing these reviews of the Antarctic Press stuff with their manga in their comic book world, and then of course their big graphic novels and things like that. The Monkey Peak, that one's a really good one, and it is a bloody comic book about a giant ape type creature hunting this group of people. Uh, there's a volume one. I'm pretty sure there's a volume two of it, and that's one that I would actually put in my collection, just because it's that bloody when it comes down to it. So, and it's kind of like some of the stuff that I draw in the horror realm. I put the bloody elements to it, the axes and heads, the slashed up, the guts, falling out. You know, have I seen Primal? Um, is that an anime or an actual movie? Because I know there's a Primal movie that I've seen that was not anime. Oh, okay. Oh, or is it the TV show? Because if it's the TV show, I haven't seen that one. I've seen a movie called Primal, which is got I believe it's got a lion or something in it. Okay, okay, then no, I have not seen that one yet. So see, there's a suggestion that I can go watch. Um, but Prime and I believe it's Netflix have a large collection of anime on there, and so that is one I'm writing down right this moment. I will use red so I can see it better. Not that I can't see in color, but so Primal on Prime. All right, that one's written down because like Akira, those old comic books and mangas, and then turned into animes and stuff like that. Those were always fun to watch. Those were semi bloody at the time they were made. Um, but yeah, the whole realm of the anime and manga stuff is just a complete different world if you haven't gotten into it. And it's a very cool world, and not the movie with Brad Pitt, but okay. That's type of stuff that people like to do, so that they don't have to follow along, especially if it's dubbed in a different language or only has subtitles. Because those are the movies I find hardest to watch. Is the ones that only have subtitles. Um, and then there's some that don't even give you the subtitles, and they're just like rambling off in the native language that the film was done in, and no subtitles. And even if you try to do the subtitles on TV, it doesn't pull them up. It's just like I have no idea what they're saying. It's got cool effects and stuff like that. It's a cool horror movie, but I don't know what you're saying. It was like one that I just watched the other day, Valak Asylum or something like that. It was in German, and I couldn't understand a word they were saying. It Man, I've heard of It Man, so but yeah, there's a lot that I want to watch out there. I've got a lot in my saved list to watch list, and that's just on me because I throw movies and things on that I know 100% and I don't have to pay attention to, if you will, while I'm doing my artwork, and so I will while I'm doing stuff like this is from God of War. This is the Dreki and the Wolverine combined together, and I'm laying in the Dark Inks right now, adding in some more elements, which I'm probably going to put some, large type bird creatures in the background coming up and over the mountaintop and things like that in here. And, you know, this is, like I said, a mashup, and this is a commission getting ready to go out whenever I get it completely finished, as well as the other one that I was showing earlier, which is Kingdom Hearts and Blade Runner mixed together right here. Everything will be tightened once the ink happens right there. So you've got Sora from Kingdom Hearts and you've got Decker from Blade Runner fighting the enemies from each side. Sora up here is fighting the replicant from Blade Runner, and Decker is fighting the hordes of the darkness over here, from Kingdom Hearts. And so in each of the backgrounds in that rift that's being ripped open in between the two, you're going to have the Blade Runner world up top. You've got the Kingdom Hearts world down below, all that good stuff. So all of, like that. And then once I'm finished with that one, then I have a God of War. I can't remember the other guy's name from What He Wants, but the guy that ordered this has got himself, uh, Kratos from God of War, and another guy from a fighting game that he's got. It's a Asian mobster. I can't remember what his name is, from and what game it's from. But those are his two big favorite characters. Is that character from that game, and then God of War, Kratos from God of War, and he's got himself in there. They're fighting all these creatures coming at him, and all that good stuff. So you've got them kind of like in a line ready to attack. And so again, checking my levels. Sorry. And then I've got a few more pieces that I'm working on. I've got a full length comic book that I'm working on for Legacy Comics, who I did this cover for right here. This painted cover. If you can't tell what's going on, they're being chased by the police. They just robbed a bank, and It involves wrestling and bank robbery and all that good stuff in there. A married couple, husband and wife team of bank robbers and pro wrestling. Um, and then I'm working on a full length comic book for them. I've got another kid's book that my cousin wants me to work on for him. Paid gig, of course. And then hopefully, once Mr. Larry Donald gets his stuff going up even more, we'll be working on another two more kids' books for his life story in the boxing world. Um, since we just finished the first one, and it's a kids' chapter book, I did the front and back cover. I laid out the whole cover with front, back, spine, and then from there, um, we're going to do the interiors later on a different book for the same thing, and then two more books after that, if he, wants to go that route. He was using AI to create his characters out with, but I changed some things up in my style. So I'm looking forward to that one. That one should be hitting Amazon pretty soon, hopefully. I got to talk to him about that too, because I'm getting comps of the book so I can sell them, just like I got comps of this book to sell whenever I do get back into the comic book convention world. And hopefully I'll be in the neck of woods that some of you guys are in, because I am working on a couple different sponsorships. Sorry about that. With a company, a good friend of mine, and then there's another one. Um, we haven't talked about it much anymore since 6 months ago, I guess. So I'm trying to see where he's going with that on that realm. So we could be going to some of the bigger shows on his side. Uh, so we'll see. We're talking about like in California, New York, and Pennsylvania, and Florida, and those type places. So those are some of the big ones that I want to go to. I'm trying to stick to 3 day shows just because they're more lucrative when it comes to the comic book conventions, and they're just more fun because you get to see some of the same people over and over again coming to your booth and chit chatting with you about your artwork. And everything that you see, like this T-shirt, is mine. It's a painting. It's called my Bad Habits. It's my Naughty Nun series. And right here is the logo, right there. Dun, dun, dun. And I've got X amount of shirts right now, but I'm not going to have shirts at the show. There will be an order form for shirts that you'll pay for once you're at the show, because I see a lot of people print out a ton of shirts that never sell. And so I'm going to avoid that overhead. You got to make business decisions. And on that note, whenever you make those business decisions, yeah, you're going to lose some sales because you don't have the t-shirts readily available. And I understand that. But I don't want that overhead of, say, this shirt is, say, I've got it in small through 5X. Okay. And now I've got small through 5X and 10 of each one. Well, one of those sold, or five of those sold, okay, in a large to a 3X. Okay. So now I've got, how many did I just say? I had 10 of each one from small to extra large, and now I've got a whole back stock of t-shirts to take back with me because not everything's sold. Um, it's a good problem to have, but I don't want that overhead like that. So art is hard because sound conveys so much, like this itch from Adventure Time. Itch from Adventure Time. Adventure Time is one of those cartoons that I never got into. I think my kids barely got into it, or Lich barely got into it either. Um, I think they watched a few episodes in their teenage years, but um, that's not one that they ever really got into because we didn't have that channel at the time. So, you know, Ron Perma. there's going to be a lot of shows that I haven't watched either. Because there were certain cartoons and things like that I never got into as well. Um, no, you're fine. I understand whenever I do voice to text on my phone, I have to go back and reread it all because, like, what the hell was that? What did that say? Even my girlfriend, I will do a voice to text and send it without even double checking it, and she'll be like, huh? I'll be like, sorry, this is what it was supposed to say. But autocorrect told me this is what it should have said. No, thank you, autocorrect. I will type it in. Thank you. But no, it's all good. Um, but yeah, no, I like the older, like Silverhawks and Thundercats, the original, not the new thing. And then now they're about to do another new Thundercats cartoon as well. Um, stuff like that. I mean, the Herculoids, a lot of the Hanna Barbera stuff from back in the day. Okay, I shall monologue. Okay, I will look some of that up. And now, is Lich the the kid character, or is it that dog type character? See, I don't even know which one's which in Adventure Time. I know I've seen the characters and I've seen the shirts and all that stuff, but I couldn't tell you who's who. Oh, he's a villain. Okay, so the villain, Lich, the villain. Okay. Um, it's just like all the Skeletor memes and little videos that they do. Until next time, all that good stuff. Yes, I do voice acting as well. I am an actor and a voice actor. Um, my voice is being lent to a villain character in a Power Rangers fan film that is a series. Uh, my character is Champ, and he doesn't make it past the first one. Okay, Ron Perlman. Okay, cool. Yeah, Ron Perlman is one of my favorite actors, especially from Beauty and the Beast, the TV series, Hellboy, of course. A lot of other characters that he's created over the years, not him personally created, but how he embraced the role uh, of each character that he took on. Hellboy being one of his greatest achievements at that, but the Beast in Beauty and the Beast TV series was awesome in that. But he always plays some character or creature, you know, uh, some kind of prosthetics. And the movie Fall, that one was just hokey. I mean, to me, it's kind of like the no, not the movie. Okay. Um, but no, I've liked a lot of his stuff. He's been one of those generational actors that can get into a lot of different roles. Now he has played some offbeat stuff that just is just like, you know, I don't like you in this role. This role wasn't for you, but you did your best, and I'll give you kudos for that. So, but there's a lot of actors like that. They'll fall into those categories that this was the only job I could get at the time, so I took it. And yeah, the movie flopped, and my role sucked, but it's still a movie under my belt. Those type of things. Me, I've been in two different movies. Enthralled, which is out on HBO Max. No, Apple TV. Enthralled, and then I've also been in Masquerade by Jason Pitts. Now I've done a lot of props and artwork for Jason Pitts shows, and now I'm lending my voice to a Power Ranger fan film, and hopefully some more of that later on. in between everything else that I do, which is the artwork that I do and, homesteading. Because homesteading is part of the life here that we have built, where we have chickens, ducks, geese, pigs, those type of things. We did have goats, but we got rid of those after the kids were born, and um, going from there, we'll see what happens next. We're about to expand our pond out eventually and go from that aspect. But like I said, this show has been about the orders coming in, the orders going out. I'm about to order some more T-shirts this morning, here in just a little bit, um, because I got some new orders for that. Yeah, but those aren't part of a homestead, you know. And we got cats and dogs. We've got some guinea pigs right now that we're fostering until they can find a home. Mr. Roy is getting a kitten for his house because he loves him so much, Mr. Schmiegel. He's a rescue cat that showed up in our driveway about a month ago, a little over a month ago now. No, we're not going to do rabbits. We are going to do meat chickens, and because we've got our layers going on right now, we've got some incubator stuff going on as well with a goose egg and a duck egg to see if they will come to fruition. Um, so we're going to see about that because so far we haven't been able to hatch any eggs yet, even though we've been doing everything correctly the way they say to do it. We had one go to term, but it didn't break out of the egg for whatever reason, so it didn't make it. And none of the other ones made out at all. So we've got 3 viable roosters out there, 4 total. No, 3 total roosters. And we had one rooster die just the other day. Uh, one of our cool roosters. He was a black Iam Tsunami. There's complete black chickens, black eyes, black combs, black tongues, black feet. I don't. I don't drink beer. Beer is nasty. A lot of people have tried to get, even in my military career, people tried to get me to drink beer, and it's just the nastiest stuff I've ever tasted in my life. Now, give me some hard alcohol, you know, scotch, whiskey, those type things. I'll drink that. But when it comes to beer, nah, you can keep that nasty horse water right there, that horse pee, if you will. But no, I've never been a beer drinker. Um, and I don't drink much, hardly at all. So, yes, a nice bourbon, a nice scotch, those type things, or the frou-frou drinks that you see um, out there that have more volume of alcohol than just a regular straight shot of whatever, you know. Um, I'll drink one of those as well, but when it comes to just drinking on a regular basis, no, I don't do it. It's not worth it. I mean, I've got Disaronno sitting up there. I've got a whole cabinet of alcohol in the kitchen that has sat there for 2 years now, and it's hardly even been touched. Um, we have a drink every now and again, especially if there's a social event here at the house, like with her family or friends and things like that. But other than that, it just sits in the cabinet and continues to ferment and get stronger over the years. So tequila. Tequila is why you have a kid, huh? So I hear that soon to be born. Well, congratulations on that. That note, kids are fun. They're also a big responsibility. Uh, I had mine way too young, if you will. I was 19. The girlfriend, or the girlfriend at the time was 18, and we got married at that young age. And so, I really didn't have a childhood. I was a parent. You know. Oh, okay. So you're almost the same age that I was at whenever we had our kids. 1991 was when the first one was born. 20 months later, number 2 was born, and then 10 years later, number 3 was born. after several, miscarriages and things like that. And then we ended up getting a divorce. And then before the divorce papers were even filed, she was re-engaged to another person. It is what it is, man. It's life. Um, I wasn't a saint in our relationship either, but for her to get re-engaged before divorce papers were even dropped, you know, um, just shows her character, and she is one of those big Bible thumpers, daughter of a preacher, all that good stuff. And now she's a preacher herself. Go figure. Her and her husband, um, holier than thou types. I was a big Christian guy, going to church and all that good stuff. And once you get burned by the church a few times, you kind of stop going, you know. And I still do my own studies and things like that, but you don't need a church to go into if you believe in that. So, and no, I'm not. Not everybody does, you know. And so that's why I study every religion, you know, not just Christianity. So, you I look at all aspects of it all because not everybody believes in a higher power. You know, now some people believe in many higher powers. Because how else did we get here? Aliens and things like that. That's why I believe in the cryptids because I've seen Bigfoot, I've seen UFOs, I've seen demons when I was a kid. Um, I there's so much stuff that I've seen in my lifetime. I'm 54 years old, and that I can't explain. And to just to try to explain it to someone, they're like, "You're full of shit." You know, it's just like, no, I'm dead serious. These are the things that I have seen in my lifetime. You know, and everybody puts those people that talk about Bigfoots that they've seen, or aliens that they've seen, or UFOs, or you know wormholes, or time loops, or those type things. You're just a kook. You're a nut. You've got something wrong in your head. No, this is dead serious. That's why I talk about the poltergeist experiences that I have in the house. You know, just like on a show just the other day, I had a mist happen back behind me. I think, well, actually, I was off to a side over here, and the mist happened like right here, right in that area, on one of my shows. So, I saw it. I don't know if anybody else saw it that day or not. And this is one of my more recent shows. Um, but like I said, I have all kinds of stuff that happen here, and so does everybody else. And a lot of people just don't want to talk about it because they're like, well, what are people going to think if I talk about this? What are people going to? It's you know, people running around. So that's what you see is people running around because I see shadow figures, I see full body apparitions. Again, poltergeist activities, stuff flying off the walls that shouldn't, because there's no way. Oh, you've heard things too, or the running around. You've heard the footsteps of things moving, running. Because I've heard physical voices. I got you. This is a safe place to talk about anything you want to talk about when it comes to the paranormal that you've seen, heard, all that type of stuff. And if you have, let me see here. What are we talking about here? Um, I've had things I can't explain. I don't believe myself. Uh, so like here, I was cleaning out back bedroom, and I was cleaning it up, putting in new furniture and things like that. See, that's where I saw my demon was with my cousin. So we're in the same boat on that one. And as I'm cleaning the room, I hear plain as day, "Not yours." And I'm looking around. I'm like, "What the hell?" I go outside to see if my neighbors are having a fight or something like that, which they don't fight, but or at least not in earshot anyway. Nobody's outside. Nobody's around. TVs aren't on. And so I'm like, oh, okay, all right. But I go in there and start cleaning up anyway. It was like 2 or 3 feet tall, and it was fast. Huh. Was it animal esque? Was it, you know, you're right on that. It ran up the road. So like a chupacabra. Oh, so it had hands. Okay. And Toltec monk, when you have cancer, everyone rallies. When it goes to spirit, they're gone. You're right. I mean, a lot of people don't want to talk about the spiritual realm of, you know, the undead things or creatures or cryptids, those type things. So Journey, yours, it ran up the road and it had hands. Okay. That could be a lot of different things. If I knew where my book was right now, I'd flip through there and see what we could find. Because I picked up 2 books for my own personal use and for my comic book research. Um, excuse me. One is a witchcraft book because there's going to be witchcraft type stuff, elements and things like that in my book. Plus, the other one is folklore, cryptids, and things like that. Um, I wish I knew where it was right now because I would pull it up. But chupacabra is that small creature, dog-like creature that does have hands, um, or some variations of it have hands. But then you've got it stopped. We shined flashlights, and all we could see was its eyes. So you got the glow, of course, the animal glow in the eyeballs. Those are all originals. Um, where are my books? Oh, oops, sorry. I can only move so far. Um, oh, there they are. I think. Yes. Okay, here we go. Bum, bum, bum. Give me just 1 second. I've got to like 40 feet away. Oh, you're going to bed? Oh, poor little guy. See you, Roy. Sorry, guys. I got stuff scattered everywhere. Okay, so we're not going to need the Book of Practical Witchcraft, which is going to be in my own books. But Freaky Folklore, a compendium of the world's most frightening monsters, cryptids, and beasts. Right there. Okay, this was at Ollie's for $4. You know. Oh, correction, $10, which isn't bad. Okay, so this covers everything. It was by our dogs doing something. I got you. This covers the Americas, Europe, Africa, Australia and New Zealand, Asia. So this gives you cryptids and folklore from all over the world, not just in the Americas. Okay. So um, now a skinwalker, which a lot of people don't like to, talk about that type of stuff. You could have encountered a skinwalker as well because they come in all forms, fashions, and everything. Because since the skinwalker can transform into whatever, hold on, Mr. Puzzle Piece, let me get you in there. Skinwalkers are found in Montana areas, especially up north, places like that, in rural, areas of woods and things like that. And they're found in, residential neighborhoods as well. I'm not going to say it was a Bigfoot because that would be way too small. Um, that one probably is a no go. Goat Man, probably not, which I've seen footprints of the Goat Man in Bethany, Oklahoma. A Wendigo, most likely not. Um, Definitely probably not the Jersey Devil, not Mothman. Now, it does say Michigan Dog Man, but um, I think it could be something kind of like that, you know, because the dogman does have hands. You also have, which is more like a wolf creature, but that is way up north, so I doubt it's going to be that one. You've got the, but that's up in Alaska and Canada, especially British Columbia, so it's probably not going to be that one. It definitely wasn't La Llorona, or you would have heard wailing and crying. Um, that's just a dude. So Chupacabra, I think, might be your best bet. Now, um, even though it would be kind of highly unlikely for it to be up that far, how do you spell? Okay, Toltec Mexican Indian mythology. Carlos Castaneda. Hence my entire path. White boy Gen X Toltec monk. Okay, cool. I'm bad at spelling. Um, are you trying to say prairie or I'm not sure what you're trying to say right there. Um, but a chupacabra would be kind of highly unlikely to be up that far, but I know inorganic beings. Okay, so you're trying to say the prairie, but the chupacabra could be what you saw up there. Um, just because, yes, it's more southwest and in Mexico and things like that. Um, but it's not uncommon for it to be seen somewhere else because I know some other people have seen them or said they have seen them in those regions of Montana and things like that. So I'm trying to find stuff that is more close to you, and it doesn't have everything in here 100%, but I would almost say you probably saw a chupacabra if I had to guess. You know, and Sonora, I got you. Um, I mean, I could look up cryptids and things like that in your regions to see what else is possibly out there. So I'm just looking right here because yeah, the closest you're gonna get is a duende or a chupacabra in the Americas in this book. Now again, um, not everything is in this book, like I'm saying. So, oh yeah, witch energy's everywhere, man. Especially when you have the actual practicing witches that practice on a regular basis. Like 7 miles from Great Falls, Montana, in a trailer park. Okay, yeah, you can find anything if you're aligned with your chakra and all that good stuff. Okay, so your mom is into witchcraft, and maybe that's why you're seeing some of the stuff that you're seeing. You know, um, because whenever you have people that are active into that do like the Ouija boards and reading of the tea leaves and crystals and have the crystal balls and all that good stuff, you are going to experience more activity than most people. Um, and that's kind of like, and that's why you know I probably saw the demon as a kid, because my mother and my aunt were polar opposites, if you will. My mother had the velvet Jesus hung up in her house. My aunt had the velvet Satan hung up in her house, which it was a cool painting because it had hidden elements around it. Whenever it because it stored up the daylight on the picture, and then at night it would glow. So you had like gambling and drugs and all these other elements going around the devil head that you didn't see during the daytime. Um, this is my bad habits shirt. It is my naughty nun series. So um, it will manifest to which that thinker energy exactly. She does stuff with bones and rocks and crosses. Okay, so she's reading is what she's doing because she rolls them out and all that good stuff. Um, it's kind of like people with tarot cards. She knows how to read the rocks and the bones um, and crosses. Now, a lot of people put their faith into the crystals. You know, these are just crystals that we just dug up around the 7th of September. You dated a witch girl and got fucked up. That can happen. Okay, guys. If a cute hot woman comes on to you right now, run the other way. It is schmacrifice season for the witches. So just remember that. Okay, I'm trying to save your life here. No, I've seen those memes coming around a lot. I do have a lot of people that are into the paranormal and witchcraft and things like that that I'm friends with, um, and they're always posting memes like that. If a hot girl comes on to you right now, you might be scared because it is schmacrifice season uh, for that group of people. So just be mindful, guys. Just be mindful, and girls too. Um, Crazy energy, crazy spirit, or choice is the hard part. Yeah, but were they fun? That's the bottom line. Was it fun? Um, because sometimes you can find all of that in one person, but then it not be fun. Um, that was kind of like my ex-wife number two. Um, she had a lot of energy, a lot of fun, but then it got to the point where it wasn't fun anymore. She wasn't practicing witchcraft or anything like that, but it was just her. She was an ugly person on the inside, if you will. So I had to cut that cords on that one. Because Stone Cold said so. That's the bottom line. No, I get that. I get what you were saying with the 316, Austin 316. I knew what you were talking about with that. Um, and yeah, or yell, or yeah, hey, but you no, I get it. You get, and we're all can be that crazy. We can all be that crazy side of things. Um, and but you still can have a lot of fun with life. You know, yeah, I talk about some serious aspects of life periodically on my show, but I'm here to have as much fun as possible as the next guy. Nice. Especially during Rumspringa. He said, "Believe me, in the long run, Amish girls are the best." Aha. Yes, Rumspringa when they can let loose, do their wild oats. Um, that one I would have to look into to see what that one is about. Uh, or the week after, correct? Yeah. So I've heard some wild stories about Amish girls and guys too, but mainly about the Amish women. Um, but yeah, no, the black, the turning a crystal black. That's something new to me. I haven't heard of that one, so I would have to do some research on that one. just to figure out what's going on in that. Um, because that intrigues me a little bit. You know, I'm writing it down. Now, was it a clear quartz crystal that she was using and baking the bread? Well, you guys were cooking, but because if she's using a clear crystal quartz, I'd like to know. Because I have tons of those here at the house that we just dug up from two different crystal mines, and I want to look into that. I want to know more. No, it was an amethyst. Okay, so an amethyst going black. Huh? That's interesting. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna do some research on that because that's always fascinating to hear new things like that. That one I haven't heard of before. I haven't even seen it in any movies um, that I know of, and I watch a lot of off the wall, horror movies that involve witchcraft or uh, different things like that. Zombies, vampires, of course. But but yeah, no, that one I'm gonna have to look into. Well, as everybody should be. If you don't see it with your own eyes or experience it yourself, um, it is very skeptical when people start talking about stuff. You know, and it's just like whenever I tell my Bigfoot story or my UFO stories or all my poltergeist stuff in here. Well, do you have proof of it? Well, no, I don't have proof of it. It's what I saw with my own eyes. Because I was there. I didn't have my phone in hand on my hike. You know, you dated a good old Christian girl in my 20s from Louisiana. Found out she was red souping me later on. Huh. That I don't even know what that means. Red souping. Not like some voodoo practice, is it? When I'm in deep shit, I ask my ma to pray for me, 'cause it works for some reason. My pa was the pastor. Okay, see, that's cool. Okay, so it is some voodoo stuff. Okay. Now voodoo's pretty interesting stuff in and of itself. And Haitian. Okay. Yeah, the Louisiana part with all the Haitian rituals and things like that. That's pretty cool stuff. I'm not gonna lie. When I was down there for Katrina relief with the military, Army National Guard, that going down there, it was pretty interesting stuff to read and go into the voodoo shops and things like that. Uh, oh, okay. So that's what red souping is. Okay. I was gonna go look it up, but now I don't have to. Which is menstrual blood in your food. Well, that's interesting. I mean, I knew there was blood pudding and things like that, but that one is totally new to me. What was the purpose for it? Uh, I mean, I'm trying to get you more connected with her, um, to get you cast under her spell. That's the only reason I can think to do that to someone's food. It's just like you hear in the regular restaurants where people spit in your food or those type things. The good gross stuff that you don't want to know about. Yeah, my burger fell on the ground. Yeah, they stepped on it. Yeah, they you know put it in their armpit before they served it. Those type things. Well, I'm very open minded to a lot of things, so I appreciate you saying that I'm cool. Because like I said, if you go to my library in my house where I'm at right now, this is just the office. I still have to finish my ceiling. I'm actually going to put a mural across the ceiling if this stays. I've been thinking about tearing it down, putting a Connex here, turning it into a better office, all that good stuff. But we'll see how that goes. Um, I've lived through a lot of different things. I've lived through Baptist to Nazarene to non-denominational to doing my own studies. You know, finding the truth in it all. Um, and a lot of people again don't believe in that stuff because the book is just a book. It was written by men. All that good stuff. Uh, there are a lot of practices like that. Now you would get a lot of people saying no, Christianity is not a cult or a witchcraft. But then you've got the other flip side of it that is like, yes, it is a cult. Yes, it is witchcraft because you're praying to a deity. You are offering sacrifices to this deity. Those type things. And so no, I get it. Um, because again, I've been on both sides of it. When my son died in 2009 at the age of 17 due to an ATV accident, I was angry. I hated, God, and and because why would you take him away at such a young age, you know? But there's just all kinds of different aspects to it all. Some people believe it makes them feel good, just like they were talking about the praying, and your Paul was the pastor. Uh, that a lot of people are out there that prayer helps, and in my eyes, and I appreciate that. In my eyes, when it comes down to it, it's the positive attributes to it all. People are putting positivity back into you. It's just like I saw somebody on TikTok talking about linen sheets, you know, how people get healed faster when they're under linen and things like that. And it's all a power of belief, you know. If you believe you're getting sick, you're going to get sick. If you It's basically that whole mantra of mind over matter that was in the 90s. If you can master your mind of certain things and certain disciplines, you can master a lot of things in your life. Um, but then you get so much negativity from the world, from yourself, from people that you interact with, that you begin to believe what they're telling you. But if you can block out all that outside interference right there and believe in yourself, believe in what you're doing, believe in your goal, you can manifest a lot of different things that you want in life. And it's just rules of thumb that I've had to learn over the years. You know, I went full Catholic in 2010. Always been New Age. Family was like, "What?" But they didn't realize. I get that. And see, I needed all sides to understand. Yes, and that's why that was the point I was trying to get to before I got sidetracked. Um, if you go to my library and you look at my religion section, I've got the Satanic Bible, I've got the Torah, I've got the Quran, I've got the Holy Bible, all sitting right next to each other, and then I've got other New Age stuff in there as well. Um, because if you don't learn about every aspect of a religion or religions, and that is going back to the dawn of time, whenever the Dead Sea Scrolls were out there. Because how much of the Dead Sea Scrolls is practical, more practical than what they put into the Bible? Okay. Um, why did they leave out certain spots that should have been put into the Bible? And that's where the Book of Enoch comes in. Because it encompasses a lot of the Dead Sea Scrolls in there with all the different chapters and other books that should have been in there. And so much history has been left out. So many things that could turn the tides, if you will, uh, for certain deities out there. That the Catholic Church didn't want you to know about, because ultimately it's the Catholic Church that made the books possible over the years. Now other groups did their own versions with practically the same things from the original books that were written, from the original transcripts. And, you know, it all boils down to what you want to believe, what avenue you want to go down when it comes to that. So, and everybody has a different belief. You're never going to find somebody that actually has the exact same belief, even in the same church, even in the same circle of witches, even in the same circle of um, cryptid followers or paranormal followers. Everybody's going to have their own rules and own belief systems inside of each of those circles. Now, say a paranormal group, there is the same core belief that, you don't want to antagonize, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, you want to do this, you want to do that. Okay. What I'm dealing with mental health is I'm a lucid dreamer to the point where I close my eyes. Close your eyes and do you do the whole spirit walk? Is that where we're going with this? Where you can see your body as you leave the body. And I'm flying. I cross the line where I meditate. I'm straight lucid. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just because, if you're that in tune with your body that you're able to use that portion, what's it going to lead you to? What else can you do with that mind over matter section that you're dealing with? Because I have a lot of deja vu dreams where I like there was a movie that came out that I hadn't even seen, and it was years down the road. And I mean, I'm talking like 10 to 15 years down the road, or something like that. Or no, it was an older movie, but I had never seen it. And I had a lucid dream about this movie from, you know, start to finish. Well, probably about 5 years after I had that dream, I would start watching this movie, and it's just like, wait a minute, I've seen this somewhere before. I know what's getting ready to happen, and I'm telling people, this is what's getting ready to happen, and they're like, how'd you know that? I was like, I have no idea, other than, and then it dawned on me, I had a dream X amount of years ago, and it was of this movie that I didn't know existed. I hadn't watched it, and back then I didn't have a phone to Google it. You know, um, all we had was a book of movies. We didn't have a catalog of going online and looking shit up. Uh, and it was just like, and I was literally telling them what was getting ready to happen next. And they were like, "How did you do that?" And I was like, "I don't really know. I had a dream about this movie, about 5 years ago, and here it is now. I'm watching this movie with you guys, and I can tell you exactly what's getting ready to happen." So, if people can reach that consciousness of mind, what is your future going to look like? You know, and it's just like in the movie Lucy, where she gets enhanced to use 100% of her brain. Where at the time, whenever she became like the smartest person to outwit everybody, she was only at 28% of her mind power. Well, just think, we're only using what they say 2 to 3% of our brain as a human being. Why can't we unlock that 28 to 50%, in our own mind? Why aren't we trying to do that? But you get a lot of people that say, "Oh, that can't happen." All this stuff. We can only use this percent of our brain. I think up to 5%. Of our brain capacity. Is it because we don't want to? Is it because we don't want to try? Is it because we don't want that knowledge overflow to happen and be able to be like, well, this post-it note right here, I'm going to sell it for $700 to someone out there because I can. And then boom, you turn around and sell it for $800 because they really want it. Because you sold this pitch so good that, hey, I really want that post-it note, that ginormous post-it note. Fully realizing I'm still in my bed, but then have to be normal. They think I'm nuts. And that's, do you believe that? Do you believe you're nuts? And that's just an honest question. It's a yes or no answer. Do you believe you're nuts? No. Okay. Then it's not a true statement. If they believe that, that's what they believe. If you don't believe that, then that's the truth. And it's just like people say I'm nuts for the stuff that I do, the stuff that I believe in. You know, because I look at the X Files, great TV show, taught you a lot about cryptids as well as conspiracy theories. Mulder was on his own path of belief when it came down to the cryptids, the the disfigurements, the you know all the rabbit holes that you could go down. And a lot of those stories that they put into X Files were based off of true events. So, and yes, and you just want friends. You're gonna find your group of friends, no matter what. If the people around you think you're nuts that you call friends now, then they're not your friends. You're gonna find those people that are gonna give you the hard truth of the matter when it comes down to things. Um, yes, 100%. And if you want to chit chat at any point in time, my DMs are always open. I have no problems with that. Uh, because we all need someone to talk to vet things off of. Back in 2008, 2009, and 2010, those were my rough 3 years. You know, because 2008, fast backwards. 2006, grandmother dies. No big deal. She was old. It was still hard. You know, um, you're not going to be alone for forever. Uh, SpongeBob. Uh, you're going to find your people. Trust me. Fast forward to 2008, my sister gets killed by a drunk driver. 2009, son dies in a TV accident, and then 2010, my grandfather dies, who was my father figure. So boom, 3 years in a row, less than 3 years or less than a year apart on each one of them. Boom, 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 tragedy, tragedy, tragedy. You know, um, two accidents and longevity death. You know, and so that was a 3 year stretch that I didn't have many people to talk to as well. And that's the point in time where you want somebody to talk to. I did have one person in 2009 that helped pull me out of, you know, uh, despair and wanting to put myself under the dirt, if you get my drift, because you can't say certain things on TikTok without getting flagged. Uh, no, it's not rude. The book of Job is all about loss, and he had to lose everything to find everything. You know, um, and because like everybody was saying, all you got to do is give up your faith, and you'll get everything restored. Why are you still following this deity that is causing you so much pain, where you've lost everything? and he never gave up his faith or his direction. And when it all came back around, he got it back tenfold. I think it was tenfold on everything: money, women, animals, land, all that good stuff. So, um, if you believe in yourself enough, you're going to find your people. You're going to find the people that want to be around you, that want to talk about the stuff that you're talking about, that want to be involved in the things right there. You know, my mom, brain tumor, I was her only help. Um, took herself in March. Uh, okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Is she okay? That's the main thing. Because I mean, when the rope popped, she's still here, getting back in that space. And unfortunately, it's just like in the military. That's why they do the 22 X amounts, because 22 a day go below dirt in the military. Uh, Anybody that's been in the military service, I could have been one of those statistics back in that time frame from 2008 to 2010, uh, because that was the lowest point in my life um, that I'd ever been. You know, so and I don't wish it on anybody. Oh, you're talking about yourself. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, I'm glad you're still here. Um, that is a tough spot to be in, 100%. Uh, and you're not the only one that I've ever talked to that's tried to do that, and something happened, you know, to where they're still here with us. Now, do they fight with that urge on a regular basis? Yes. Um, and I'm sorry that that happened. Are you able to walk? Are you good in that aspect, or did it leave you in a chair? And here's the thing on that too. Since you were in that point, what I understand on that aspect is that you've awoken something else, and that is possibly why you're able to do the meditation to where you see yourself, flying. Okay, okay. Well, I'm glad you're able to walk, because near death experiences open up something else in us. I've had two heart attacks. 2017, I had the Widowmaker, but I'm still here. 2019, I had the other side. I'm still here. Two stents in each of the main veins going into the heart. And, you know, now I'm not going to say I was near death on both of those, but that's why number one was called, that's why one of them was called the Widowmaker, because you usually don't survive. But I've heard more and more people that have survived the Widowmaker than any of the other ones, you know. So, um, those experiences open up something else in us to where we can see things that other people can't. It could be a dream walk. It could be, when you're asleep and you're seeing things in your dream that come to reality later on. And so, don't overlook that experience that you had, because at that point in time, you're walking a different path than anybody else. You know, um, and it's a cool path, because now you're able to do things that your average person cannot. And I fully believe that, you know. And of course, it was a surreal moment. Um, I can only imagine what you saw, in that time frame when it was all happening. Just because it is, there's a lot more for you to finish in this world than led you up to that point. So keep going forward with all of that, 100%. And I'm not a guide, I'm not a guru or anything like that. I just know a lot of different things on a lot of subjects. And I've lived through a lot of tragedy myself, starting at the age of 8 or 9 when my dad died in a trucking accident, you know. And then later on, after my first heart attack, my mom was like, "Oh, yeah, by the way, your dad died of a massive heart attack. That's what caused him to wreck his truck." Oh, thanks, Mom. I could have been changing my lifestyle, in there, eating better, those type things. But no, you tell me after I had my first heart attack in 2017, at the age of 40 something. And it's like, thanks, Mom. Oh, you guys are great. This is what makes the shows great. You know, all you guys that have your questions or your experiences. That's why the show is as good as it is. Yeah, I don't get many viewers during the time, you know, and but by the end of the week, especially if you guys like, share, and follow this, um, I usually end up with about 3 to 5,000 people who have watched the video, by the end of the week, and about 40 to 50% of those watch the entirety of the show. So that's a good record. Whereas some people only get, you know 28% to watch the full percent, or 20% to watch the full length of the video. Now this is running over, my normal time, because I usually do an hour. We're almost into 2 hours right now, and I'm fine with it. Or my mother stabs my stepfather to schmeth, uh, in our kitchen. Wow. Okay. I mean, was there a reasoning for it? What, did you ever get a reasoning for it? Why that happened? Because most 9 times out of 10, people don't just wake up one morning and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this," and take out my partner. You know, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, now that I can understand. Especially if he took out his rage on your mother, on you, anybody else in the household. I can understand that. You've had enough. You've had enough of the abuse. I get that. Um, it's still sad, but justified. Especially if he did the final act of taking out his frustration and alcohol rage. Um, what's up, Mr. Kirk Holt? We've been talking about all kinds of stuff, you know. But welcome to the show. Your order is on the way too. And I hear you're back home now to receive that package of your shirts that are autographed. So, um, but yeah, the whole aspect of that is, see, there you go. She's giving you the beauty of giving self help for yourself, and that's a journey in and of itself. If we can believe in that aspect of ourselves, then the sky's the limit, beyond the sky, because especially when you can do what you can do, the sky isn't the limit anymore. Okay, so don't be afraid, like you aren't, to talk about those type of things in life, just because if we don't talk about those things, it becomes dormant. You know, that's why I talk about my son's passing. I talk about my sister's passing, hopefully to get into people's minds that, you know, it's not about the woe is me, the sorrow, the hurt, the pain that happened through all that. But it's more about the journey after the fact. What did I do with that journey after those tragedies? You know, that 3 year stretch in there. And it's like, yeah, I could have given up 100 times over. You know, it was a good year that before I got to the realization, hey, I've got other people depending on me. Even though I was going through the motions of life in 2009. And it was like, finally came to the realization that I'm better above dirt than I would have been be under dirt. Because I do still have my daughters relying on me, you know, at the time. And now after the second divorce, they won't talk to me, period. Uh, just because of whatever truth the ex told them. They've never once asked me about my side of the story, which I'm going to sit down and write them a letter for each one of them so that I can either send it to them now or in my passing, whenever they inherit my shit, they can be like, oh, there's letters to us right here, you know? And it's going to explain my side of the second divorce or marriage plus divorce, you know, right there. At the same time, we all need to explain in those moments. We can share what those moments felt like. Exactly. You know, like you said, you had your surreal moment. And now you're able to do more things than you did before that moment happened. You know, because something changed in that whole aspect of life for you. Um, and it's just like some of the stuff I'm going to be looking up later, just because it's like there's some new terminologies and new things that I hadn't seen before. Even though I know a little about a lot, I don't know everything. You know, I've just lived my life's journey to the point where I'm 54 years old. Um, People call me, you know, Bonaducci or Agassi or you know whatever, and because they're like, oh, you're Danny Bonaducci. Oh, can you play us a song? Sure. Let me just pull up my guitar over here, which I do have a guitar sitting over here, but I don't play it. I paint them. You know, this is my girlfriend's guitar that I painted for her. You know, and starting with the old bloody comic book of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before they turned into the kids' fantasy favorites down here. You know, because if you do read the original comic book, it was not for kids. It was bloody. It was graphic. It was, you know, blood splatter everywhere, uh, death, destruction, all that good stuff happening. It was not a kid's comic book back in the day. And then kids started enjoying the comic book enough that they had to put colors to the characters because in the black and white with the red bandanas and stuff like that, as the covers were, people couldn't recognize them if they didn't have their, you know, uh, weapons in hand because they all look the same. So, you know, and this encompasses her favorite character, Michelangelo. You know, this is the back, this is the side. The neck has Shredder and Splinter on it from the original comic series. But, you know, and this was done, you know, just 4 years ago. This comic book, or this guitar. Well, thanks. Which I can paint on anything, you know? Just like you need a weapon and artwork at the same time. Bum, bum, bum. Get your real. I'm not a strong man, so I can't bend this in half because it is a real steel. You know, get you an Art Deco piece for your desk right there. bum, bum, bum. But somebody breaks into your house, da, 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 throwing star right there, automatic. So, but yeah, um, but lots of different aspects and avenues of life can open up and transform life into different things. And that's what we've been talking about here lately, or for this segment here. Um, we've been talking about the spooky stuff that people have been seeing and what they can do now. Uh, I will. I will definitely check out your stuff later on once I'm done here. Because once I get done with my show, I post my clips or my show out there. And then from there, I go and follow back the legitimate people that follow me. Because you do get some spammers, you do get some fake accounts. So you've got to vet who you follow back. But you will definitely get a follow back 100%. Just like Mr. Holt here. He's a great, awesome dude. And, his whole family is pretty awesome. Okay. Um, but yeah. So, uh, but yeah, you just got to live your life. Well, once you get your following, you can go live. I think it's 1,000 people that you need, I believe, unless they've changed it again, um, to go live. And I would recommend going live, telling your story. You don't even have to have your face up. You could put a mask on like a lot of people do, or if you don't want that aspect, of yourself shown. Um, and a lot of people would just put a green screen up or some kind of a picture and not even have themselves. You can hear them talking and things like that. But me, I don't care. If you see my face, you see my face. Um, a lot of people say I've got a good face for radio, like the idiot earlier that it got blocked, um, because all he wanted to do was come in here and disrupt the show, as many people do or try to, and then boom, they get blocked and we move on. You know, so I got here late, so this is about creating an account for social media. No, we've been talking about the spiritual realm. We've been talking about ghosts, goblins, uh, cryptids, and folklore. Right there. We've been talking about my comic artwork that has been going out the door. We've been talking about orders coming in. That I've got getting ready to place some orders here in a little bit once I get done with the live show. I've got some T-shirts to go order. Um, we've been talking about sponsorships. We've been talking about uh, real life tragedies. We've been talking about cryptids that people have seen with their own eyes. Since it is the spooky season, Halloween is right around the corner. If you believe in the Halloween, All Hallows Eve, all of those good things. And now we're talking about, Toltec going live if he wants to, but he's got to get his followers first. So, you know, if he doesn't have his followers already, I'm not saying you don't, but I'll find out when I go check out your channel here in just a little bit. Um, so that's what we've been talking about, Mr. Kirk Holt, and we've been talking about a little bit of everything. Yeah, so I've got a YouTube channel too, so I'll follow you on YouTube as well. So over there on my YouTube channel, I post all of my recordings from here that are going live on Facebook. Actually, I need to go check Facebook. I haven't checked it in a hot minute. And no, nobody else is over there. Okay. And so I also put, I do reviews for Antarctic Press, which is a comic book, a very large published comic book uh, company, Antarctic Press. They do Warrior Nun Ariella, or they used to. They do Gold Digger. They do a lot of cool stuff, manga, anime, um, all that good stuff. And so I do reviews on their comic books, thanks to Ben Dunn putting out a call to podcasters and things like that want to review their comics. And well, you do too, Toltec. 100%. Uh, I'm glad you're still here with us. Um, and we'll talk. 100%. No, not a problem there. Um, But I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And so all of my recordings go over there. So it is 412 Art Productions on pretty much everything. Which if you go up here, you can find most of my links right there in my profile. Uh, Pretty much all my links are there. Well, if my website is there, you can go to my website, and then from there you can see all of my socials, and you can follow there if you would like. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying if you want to. There is no pressure to join anything. You don't even have to subscribe to my channel. You know, so I appreciate the hearts and stuff like that coming through. You guys are awesome. Website name is it's under Canva, but it is 412 Art Productions, and there's no colons in there. You know, it's 412 Art Productions on Canva. So, but again, it is up in my link in my bio up there. So, right there, right there. But yeah, it is, a great thing. And once I get my own comic book up and running, I mean, I'm still going to be doing the mainstream comic stuff like Wolverines and Jokers and Batmans and things like that. Not a problem, man. Um, it is. We all need that somebody that can talk to us about real life stuff, stuff that we've experienced, stuff that we've been through, stuff that we're going through, because we're all going through something. And I'm glad I'm a voice of reason. I'm glad I can be there for other people because I can remember when I didn't have anybody, to talk to, especially through that 3 year stretch from 2008 to 2010, where I had hardly anybody to talk to about anything, you know. And it's like all of a sudden there's that voice out there that draws us in, and we're like, oh, this guy's been through a lot of stuff that I've been through, or this guy is can see my side of the view and hears me. And that's what a lot of us need is someone that can hear us for the stuff that we've gone through or the stuff that we're talking about. And a lot of people don't have that person in their life, 100%. And it's sad that they don't. But well, and the same for you, Mr. Kirk, because you know, even though we didn't really connect in high school where we first met, we're connecting now in this day and age, in this time. That's when I laugh about kids talking about, I wish I could go back to the 80s. And Gen X is like, what? Yeah, no. I mean, now granted, back in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, things were a lot more relaxed. Things were a lot more chill, if you will. Because when I grew up, we didn't lock our doors for the most part. Now, maybe about 10% of the time we did. We were out until dark. We were hardly ever at home. The only time we were really home was doing our homework. And then it's like, hey, I'm going to such and such's house. And then by the time the street lights came on when we were supposed to be home, we'd already been to 6 other people's houses. So our parents really had no clue where the hell we were. We put our life in danger 90% of the time with the shit that we did. And our parents didn't care. Because, we would crawl through, drainage ditches. We would ramp our bikes on stuff that, you know, we probably shouldn't have. We would jump huge cliffs on our bike, hoping we make the other side. Um, Swing on ropes that we didn't know if they were 50, 60 years old or not. How long has this rope been here? It's grown into the tree. Those type things. Um, and we were the generation of we raised ourselves. You know, we sometimes had to make our own food uh, because the parents were more, you know, enthralled with other things. I'm going to stay at his house. He's going to stay at my house, and we ate out all night. Exactly. You know. Um, but yeah, our parents usually had no clue where the hell we were. Because hey, I'm going to Jimmy's house. You know, and we get there, and it's like, hey, let's go over to such and such house see if they're home. And then by that time, like I said, we've hit 6 to 8 other people's houses by the time the street lights come on. And if our parents called over to Jimmy's house, oh no, they went over to such and such's house. They called there. Oh, they went over to, and by that they're like, I'm not even calling anymore. As long as they make it home, we're good. And you know, 100% of the time we did. Now I'm not gonna say we never had incidences. Like there was one day, my cousin and I were out front, playing in the front yard, and this car drives up and eggs us, literally eggs us. I'm like, what the fuck? And they drive off, and I literally said, what the fuck? As I've got egg all over my arms and shit like that, you know? Yes, them good old days. And now you can't let your kids walk 10 feet from the house without, worrying, you know, are they going to make it back? And that's today's generation, you know. The Now I can't say if they had corporal punishment back in school, things would change, like we had, where we got SWATs in school, you know. I got my fair share for stupid shit that I did, And the worst one came from my butch gym teacher. She gave me the hardest spanking I ever got in my life, you know. And I got SWATs by so many different people, so many different principals and teachers in school that it wasn't even funny. But I was laughing at them, especially one of our who was the principal at the time of Bethany High School, who was the math teacher, Mr. George. He gave me SWATs one time, and I was like, "Did you swing?" I can't remember what her name is. She was probably about 5'6" to 5'8", somewhere in that range. She had at the time a Bosworth haircut. Um, she was real butch. She was thin. I can't remember what her name is, but we were throwing rocks up on the gym, on top of the gym, and mine, I didn't throw it hard enough, and so it hit her window. It didn't break it; it just bounced off the window, and she just happened to be in there and looked out and saw me, and pulled me in. It was like, time for your SWATs. It's like, for what? She said, throwing rocks. All right, bam! Brought a little tear to my eye. I could have been Johnson. I'd have to go back and look. You know, all the boys being called to the auditorium to beat those two boys' asses for smoking in the bath. Smoking in the boys' room, I tell you. Yeah, we didn't have too many people smoking in the school back in our day. They would do it out on recess or, you know, when they got the chance. But in the school, we usually didn't have any worries about people smoking. We did have one girl who couldn't walk over the graduation because she was pregnant and they wouldn't allow her to. She got pregnant her senior year, and they wouldn't let her walk, which was stupid in my opinion. But especially now that you see all these pregnant girls in high school walking graduation for graduation and all that stuff. But they didn't want that tarnished reputation. I can't remember her name either. I'd have to go look her up as well. And there's a lot of people that I still wonder, whatever happened to him, because we ended up with one kid. He was actually bullied in school, um, and ended up later on, Brent Crow. Sorry to use the name, but he ended up schmurdering his wife by popping her in the face with a shotgun blast, you know, and went to prison. So, but that was supposed to be me. I was the one most likely to not succeed, in school, uh, because I was the guy that had the long hair, had the trench coat, had the rocker boots, dressed in black a lot, those type things, and I was the one that was most likely going to end up in jail. But here I am. Haven't been to jail, you know. Don't have a record like that. So, but yeah, all those surveys and things like that. Who's going to be the most successful from your class? Who's going to do this? No, do that. No. I am in Arkansas. I used to be in Oklahoma, where I was raised most of my life. Outside of Oklahoma City, in a little town called Bethany, which is a prestigious little town now, thanks to Southern Nazarene University and Bethany High School, which is one of the schools that you want to get into now, which has a waiting list. Whereas before, whenever I went to Bethany High School, it was not the school to be in because it was full of dropouts or people that were expelled from other schools and ended up going to our school, you know. But I don't care where I'm at. I'm in Fort Smith, Arkansas area. That's not exactly where I live, but that's the area, Fort Smith, Arkansas, and which is the greatest little western town in the world, basically, as they call it. We have the not Western Heritage Museum. That's in Oklahoma City. We have the Marshalls Museum, plus a bunch of historic museums here, from a bunch of the Civil War type stuff right around here, and there you go. But that's basically where I'm based out of is Fort Smith, Arkansas, and Southern Indiana. I knew we connected for a reason. There you go. Indiana, nice little place to visit. I think I've been through there once. I've been all over the place. I used to work for Walmart as asset protection, and we used to go to different events all over the place. And yep, Midwest boys. Well, Midwest men. There we go. How about that? And I used to go to different states for their events on a regular basis. And since I've left them after giving them my letter of resignation because they pissed me off for the last time, they've gone to a lot cooler places since then, and which is cool, which is fine. But Evansville, Hill City. Well, there you go. That's cool. No, I haven't been there. I'm trying to think. I've been all over the place in my military career and in the Walmart career. Uh, just haven't been everywhere, you know. But one of these days, I'm going to get me a little RV and I'm going to put one of those little stupid states on the back and get the little sticker that goes in each one, where I've been, and in that RV. I'm gonna become one of them old peoples with my walker. Come on, Martha, let's go. Get me that 70-foot RV, that you have to have a CBL to drive, and you take out all the cars on the road because you can't see driving that thing, right, Kurt? If you're still here, buddy. I know yours isn't that big, but there you go. Maybe I'll just borrow it from you from time to time whenever I go to comic book conventions. I think you're being active like this is great. And I would not know each other if you. Yeah, I mean, we definitely. I mean, we connected through Facebook, and then we got to talking through there, and then you started watching my live shows, and we've connected ever since, and it's an awesome thing, especially whenever we can get together, as face to face, and talk. That's the best times. Now these times right here, they're crucial as well. And whenever we call each other on the phone, you know, because that's what friendship's about. It's not about oh well, I'll see you at reunion in a year. or the mini reunion in 6 months, or whatever. Uh, it's about making connections that are going to last, and maybe that's why we didn't connect in high school, because like most of my friends in high school, I don't keep in contact with them. You know, even some of my best friends from high school that we were ride or die. Larry Hoskins, Jeff Winfrey, um, Darren Jeans, Micah Stroud, Andrew McLean. I still talk to him every now and again. But uh, Brooke Anderson, Andrea Kinnaman, you know, the people that I actually spoke to on a regular basis in school, we hardly speak now. You know, and that's just because we all had our lives after high school. And back then, you had MySpace. That was pretty much it. I would hope so. Um, since we were in the same school. Um, but yeah, no, and it's just like there's only a small handful of people that I still interact with from high school. And that's not all the time. That's periodically. Um, Allison Langley used to hit up all my stuff on Facebook or on TikTok, on Instagram, and I thought we had a connection going on between us, not a romantic relationship or anything like that, but it's um, just a friendship connection. And I'm like, hey, Jason's trying to get a hold of you, Jason Zaragoza, and no response. She read it, but no response. Well, in our town in Bethany, we had one school. We had Bethany Elementary, Bethany Middle, and Bethany High School. I was lucky enough to go to all of them. I didn't have to transfer because at any point in time of the school year, I was on this side of the school or on this side of the school within walking distance. So, and I understand that you don't talk to anyone yourself, Kirk. Uh, why should you? Because do they make an effort to talk to you? And that's my point on a lot of the things from people in school that don't keep in touch with each other. Well, I reached out to you at one point. Excuse me. At one point in time, I got a small response from you, but then all of a sudden everything just stopped. I've reached out to you again, and nothing happened. I'm not talking about you, Kirk. I'm just talking about other people that I've tried to keep in contact with through school. And so it's just like communication is a two-way street. Not to do the Nixon thing, um, but if they don't want to make that effort to contact you, well, why should I make that effort to contact you? It's a two-way street, but yet I'm the one that's always trying to make the contact. You know, and that's what the girlfriend is realizing with some friends of hers, that she's the only one that makes the effort to contact anybody. And so she's like, I'm not doing it anymore. If they want to contact me, they can contact me, you know? But I've come to the realization, as she says, that I'm the only one contacting them to talk about life stuff. They don't contact me to talk about life stuff like we used to. And so, she's kind of backed off from some of her own friends. And, just to see if they will contact her. I mean, she makes the effort to go see them on a regular basis. Do they come to see her? Not a bit, you know? And like you said, the effort is definitely how your life path is going. And so, I still make contact, especially with people that I want to keep in contact with. Um, that's why I have a small, small circle of friends. Um, and I make new friends, like right here, Toltic. And there's some others that continue to talk to me. Mr. Nice Guy, Casey, who I'm surprised isn't here already. Kirk Holt here, Roy, um, and it's a small list of people that actually talk to me, or I talk to them. And you know, again, if they don't want to make the effort, and I continue to make the effort, and I get nothing back in return, well, then I'm going to stop making the effort. Because why am I putting all this effort and energy into something that either you don't want anymore as a friendship, or you never really wanted in the first place, and you were just like, oh, I'm just being nice about this. I'm just going to talk to you because. And then all of a sudden, it all ends, and the other person's left wondering, well, what the fuck did I do wrong? You know? And so, communication is a two-way street. If you want to make that effort to continue to contact people, then do it. If they're not putting in any effort, why are you putting in so much effort? You know? And that's just a rule of thumb, you know, in life. Yep, 100%. What you just said right there. Bros that gave the same needs that equal the values. And I can look back at friendships because in school we were on the phone with each other constantly because again, we didn't have text messages, you know. We had to talk to the people in person or on the phone, you know. And I think you and I have a great friendship that developed in later. Exactly, we're more mature. Well, I say that, but I can't really say we're that mature. Fart jokes. No, just kidding. And it it's a great thing to be friends with you now as opposed to then because I feel like had we been friends then, we might not be friends now, if that makes any sense. Because of life paths, life journeys. Yes, we were both military. Yes, you know, we have life going on. But I think if we would have been friends in high school, that we might not have been friends now. And that's just a feeling I get. And but now that we're both more mature if you will, that we can exchange life stories and I can glean business advice from you because of the stuff that you and your wife have done that I haven't done. You know, um, I'm still out there striving for that goal of 100% independence. You know, of solar power, of well power, of wind power, all that good stuff. And I'll get there eventually, hopefully before I'm under dirt. you know, and on the same token, it's like I've got so much junk in my life. As if you look around in my office, and I'm not going to show you my office because it's a train wreck right now. That I'm going to start downsizing a lot of shit that I have because I don't need it. It's just clutter, is all it is. And I truly appreciate and respect you. You helped me through a tough time, my friend. Well, I'm glad that I could be there for you, 100%. Because like I was telling Toltic, there is that we all need that somebody that will listen to us, that can bounce ideas off of us, or just listen to what has happened in our life. Um, and just like your post, you're not taking life for granted anymore, and that's awesome because I'm to the point in my life where it's just like I've taken life for granted one too many times, and I haven't lived life to the fullest. And now it's just like it's time to live life. I'm not getting any younger. I'm on. I'm half a century years old. You know, and getting closer to the century mark every day. And from that point and that aspect is what have I done with my life that is a proud accomplishment. Besides my kids, you know. And yes, I'm proud of their endeavors. I'm proud of their lives. I'm proud of who they've become, even if they're not talking to me, you know. And I want them to know how proud of them I am on a daily basis. But they're not going to hear that. They're not going to see that because one has blocked me on all social media. The other one has probably restricted me on social media to where I can only see certain things if I go look for them. Uh, the text messages that I send to them on a, you know, every other week basis goes into deaf ears. But I'm still proud of them and who they've become, you know. And it's just like you, Kirk. You've shown me different aspects of life that I can achieve or try to achieve. You know, I'm not the smartest cookie in the tool shed. Yes, those two don't go together, folks. I mean, unless you're eating cookies in your tool shed, which is a whole paradox in and of itself. Um, why are you hiding your cookies in your tool shed? Number one. I remember you bringing your art to me at the hospital. Who does that? Thank you. Oh, it's not a problem. I mean, hell, we were passing by anyway, you know, and and I would have brought it to you if you hadn't been in the hospital with your wife, you know. And I'm just glad things are on the upswing of that, and I am, you know, praying and good vibes that those things don't happen again. Um, Whereas even for you, I don't want to see you in the hospital either. You know, just because you are great people and you guys are helping us out just by being here. And I'm not sure about that because I'm getting ready to end the live. I've got animals to take care of. I hear them stirring around right now, and I homestead, so I've got chickens, ducks, geese, and pigs. The pigs sleep in the house right now until I can get their outside area completely fixed. Um, so they're indoor outdoor pigs, and they stir around, and when they wake up, they cause a little commotion inside, especially around the dinner table. So I'm actually getting ready to jet out of here and take care of them. But Toltic, we will talk. And you know, some of our other lives, we can probably do the whole invite you in to where you can talk to the people as well, or we can chit chat back and forth. As long as you keep the f bombs to a minimum. We had one guy on here that some people complained about a little bit because every other word out of his mouth was the fuck word, and it was just like, dude, tone it down a little bit, or I'm gonna have to take you off the show. You know. So, and I know you're not into that type of thing, or I mean, you might be, but you know, I don't know how you talk yet. I haven't seen it come through any of your texting here, so you know. But yes, Kirk, I will deliver artwork to you no matter where you are. If you go to China, I'm on a slow boat to China with some artwork to take to you. You know, that's how committed I am. And I hear that you know, prices to overseas is gone up tremendously. But oh, a lot of people are griping about that. You know, prices. I can't ship to the United States because you know the price has gone up astronomically. So you know it'll get there eventually. And so, but I do appreciate each and everybody being here. Toltic, we will talk. Don't worry about that. We will get together on that note. Um, but I appreciate each and everybody being here. All the banter back and forth is what makes the show great. 100%. And you know, without you guys and your support and liking, sharing, and following, um, well, you have to buy, right? Of course. Um, and you guys are what makes the show great. The gifts, that just goes back into me putting more artwork out there for you guys. Because the money that comes in from the meta and things like that, it all goes back into print cost for T-shirts, for the 11 by 17 prints, for the 16 by 20 canvas prints, and things like that. Much appreciated on the Dolphins. Dolphins taste good. I mean, wait a minute. No, they don't. But no, I do appreciate each and every one of you guys because you guys are awesome. Uh, the camaraderie that happens, the real camaraderie, not the idiots that show up and want to disrupt the show and things of that nature. The true questions, the listening to your stories and things of that nature is what helps um, the show be as good as it is. Because if people just sit here and listen to me ramble, about comic books or uh, garbage pail kids cards, those type things. It people wouldn't last or hang around. But whenever we talk about real life stuff and the ghost adventures that you're going on, the things that you've seen, the things that you're going through, people want to stay for that type of stuff. And I have no issues. Again, let me check my mic level. Okay, so I gotta charge these things up. That's what makes the show good, and that's what makes the show elevate. Because even though I've got 4 viewers on right now, I'm surprised this shirt didn't hold people's attention, because it is boobies. Um, that that's I look at other creators as I'm passing through, and it's like they've got 1,000 viewers on right there because they've got a tank top on and no bra and all that good stuff, and it's just like, well, we know how you're getting your views, you know. So I was hoping this one would help. Here, let me, all that good stuff. But you know, um, oh, you're welcome, man. And there's a lot of like people out there, and you will find your people. I'm one of your people. Kurt could be one of your people too. And but by the like I said, by the end of it all, whenever this goes live and sits there for a bit, I get about 3 to 4 thousand people that actually watch the show. And like I said, about 50% watch it to its entirety. And today is a lot longer than my normal shows by a lot. We're almost an hour and 30 minutes over, what I normally do. Sometimes we're at an hour and 20 minutes, but now we're at 2 hours and almost 30 minutes, on this show. And it's just because of people like you, Toltic, and Kirk, and Roy when he was here, and then a couple of others that were in there talking that helped make the show to this point. And so you guys are not forgotten, you know, and you guys will be, you guys are the ones that I will continue to talk to. It's just like Casey, if he was here. We talk on a regular basis. Kirk, we talk on a regular basis. I say regular basis. It's not as regular as I would like and hope, you know, but we still talk. Um, and now you here, Toltic, will be talking on a regular basis. And another incident happened in the UK. Uh, yeah, cut through the shit. You can say that. It's okay. It's my show. um, oh well, you're welcome, Olga. I know you just got here. So, but all that being said, it's people are going to find the people that they are drawn to. That have like interests, that have, that are sometimes complete opposites. Um, that don't live the same lifestyle that you do. That don't uh, drink the same water that you drink. Some people like Fiji. Some people like Dasani. You know, some people like smart water. Does it make you smart? No, because you just spent $3 on a bottle of water. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know. Well, and not everything gets as deep as that. What we talked about earlier. But you know, there are those times that those conversations have to be had, because people are going through a lot of shit in their lives. I'm going through a lot of shit in my life that the people don't see because I don't post about it. You know, and you get to hear the fun stuff about the comic book artwork, about the up and coming comic books and things of that nature. You don't get to hear about the debt that I'm in. You don't get to hear about the I wish I had well power right now because nobody wants to come on my property and dig a well for me. Where I'm going to have to go. And there's nothing good in that smart water. You're right. You are absolutely right, Olga. Um, and because nobody wants to come out here and dig a well for me. And it's just like, why? You're in the area. We don't service that area. Oh, really? Yes, true life keeps on, good or bad, 100%. And then proud of you for being you, bro. Well, I try. I'm not gonna sugarcoat shit, you know. Um, and that's why we don't talk about religion or politics here because people do lose their minds when it comes to those two subjects. Yeah, we touched a little bit on religion whenever we were talking about the different religions, and we didn't focus on this or that. And that's why I said, come to my library and look. I've got the Quran, the Torah, the the Satanic Bible. I've got the Holy Bible. I've got other Bibles in my collection, you know. And it's just like if you don't know about all your religions that are out there, from Buddhism to, you know, the New Age movement to all that good stuff, the Scientology where every movie star wants to go to. And if here's another little tidbit before I get out of here. If somebody comes at you trying to join the Illuminati was disbanded a long, long time ago. So there's that little bit of information for you. So if anybody tries to get you to go into the Illuminati, it's a scam. It's a scam. So there you go. I posted a little tidbit about that. Exactly, Kirk. That was one on one in that middle of the morning when they are too asleep to bitch. Well, I come on at 4:12 in the morning, or try to. There's sometimes I don't come on until a little bit later because I actually get some decent sleep. Because normally I get anywhere between 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night. Sometimes less than that. Um, but you know, okay, Olga. And don't forget to like, share, and follow before you get out of here. But you have a great day as well. Um, but we are about to leave here as well ourselves because we do have the animals to get going. So, but yeah, many people forget that religion is what you believe, not what they want to force feed you. Okay, and I'm seeing a lot of people, and it's not a bad thing, that are jumping back onto the church bandwagon. I jumped out of the church bandwagon after my last divorce. And yes, I still do my own studies and things like that, but it is what it is for everybody. You believe what you want to believe. You're going to follow who you want to follow and stuff like that. But you got to remember, the people that you're following are just people. You know, it's what you believe out there and what you believe in here and what you study as real. You find your own truths. Just like many people don't want to do research on a lot of topics that happen. That's why I have books that lay around that are like this: folklore, freaky folklore about cryptids, the world's most frightening monsters, cryptids, and beasts. You know, that's why I have, you know, the practical book of witchcraft right here too. And then I've got the Holy Bible. I've got all of that type of stuff, just lying around. And the library's full of this type of stuff in my house. And I'm getting ready to expand on the other wall because we just took a futon out of there. and gave it to a friend who needed it because he just moved into his new house, didn't have any furniture. And we were like, well, hold up, we got some furniture for you, and so you pay it forward. It's just like some of the stuff that I do. I cut discounts. I do this. I do that. I give some free stuff away periodically, because I want to pay it forward because it's been paid forward to me, you know. And from that end, if we don't pay it forward to other people, just like listening to someone or being able to relate to them, then we're no better than you know some of the world, some of the people in the world that don't have time for anybody. And I've been there. I've had been to the point where I don't have time for you. But after many life altering events where you see other people turn their back on you because of circumstances, that no one is there for you, that makes you want to be there for other people. And because this life is too short to not try to help somebody else, if that makes any sense. And that's why I try to pay it forward, because it's been paid forward to me several times over, you know. And then there's sometimes that I can't pay it forward because I don't have the resources. I don't have, the true time to put into it or things like that. But just know that as a saying that I like to say, and I've said it for a long time, is your mind is only as big as you want it to be. Meaning that you can expand your mind. You can open up past that 5% that we supposedly use, or 2%, or whatever it is that scientists say we only use. Mr. Kirk Holt uses probably like 15% of his brain. You know, you Toltic, you use probably 8 to 10% of your brain. Me, give me a day, and I'll tell you which percent I'm using. Today, 3%. No, I don't know. I lost you and freaked out. Well, don't freak out, man. We're still here, but we are about to lose in the show. So you will lose me for just a moment. But again, we will talk. So don't worry about that. Just put me in your favorites, and you'll know when I'm on. You can save stuff as well. But yeah, they say that we can use up to 50% of our brain if we really thought about it and really just try to unlock sectors of our brain. Yes, Mr. Kirk, you will see us later. Again, we will talk. We still have lots of stuff to talk about, trust me. But I do appreciate each and everybody being here, truly 100% from the bottom of my heart. I got 20%, just you get back here. I'm not hard to find, trust me. But I do appreciate each and everybody being here. You guys are great. We will keep in touch 100%. And as I like to say as I leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.